This movement is movement number 9, and it's called push-pull. And in this movement, we're going to return back to the forward and backward yining and yanning of the legs, as opposed to the lateral weight shift that you just learned in carry the ball to the side, movement number 8. So let's take a look at push-pull, and then we'll break it apart. But I want you to see what it looks like before we break it apart, so you have a picture in your mind. I'll mirror you, so shift, sink, step forward with your left heel, and I'm going to come forward in the weight shift, tracing a slightly downward pointing elliptical or football shape with the base of my wrists. So slightly downward pointing, turn, and trace over the top of that elliptical shape. And then we do 9 repetitions on the left side, and then 9 repetitions on the right side, or 6 and 6. You can choose, but you want to do roughly, as always, the same amount of repetitions on the left side as you do on the right side. So let's break this down. Let's do the hand movements. So I'm just going to sort of stand in a relaxed position and follow along. Bring your hands up to your shoulder area, right in here. And then what I'd like you to do is tap your right palm with your thumb. That's going to give you an ability to place a greater awareness focus in this palm as we shift the weight out. If our body was moving forward with our left foot forward. So slight emphasis, tap with your thumb in the right hand to balance the yang left leg that will be out. And it's a 60% focus in the right hand, 40% in the left as we go out. Tracing that slightly downward pointing elliptical shape, turn from the pinkies at the far point, and then bring the hands over the top, dropping in. There's a little space here in the heart. You're going to drop in, and your pinkies are parallel to the ground, and then you're going to lift up from the thumbs and open the palms to face the opposite wall to you. So let's do that again. And this isn't part of the movement, but it helps place your focus in the opposite hand to the foot that's going out. So we'll just tap with our thumb just to help me put my mental focus here, and you do the same. Slightly downward pointing elliptical shape. Turn from the pinkies, lifting over the top, dropping in, and then lifting up from the index finger to open. There we go. And then bringing the hands back to the resting pose as you complete that last movement. Let's do it with the legs. I think it's easier. Here we go. So we're standing in the resting pose, and remember that your feet are in a loose V shape for you. There might be a little space between the heels. Some people can get closer together, but you don't want it to be too far away, because then that'll change the forward and backward movement that originates in the dantian. And we want to encourage that forward and backward motion originating from the dantian, 2 inches below the navel. My navel's here, so this is the dantian, that spot that's an internal center in the body. Shift, sink, step forward with your left foot, I'm mirroring you, and then tap your right hand if you need to. 60% in the right hand, 40% emphasis in the left hand going out. Turn from the pinkies, neutral in both hands coming back to return. Drop in, lift up, 60% in the right hand going out. Mental emphasis, neutral or equal coming back. This is called push-pull. Slightly downward pointing elliptical shape, traced with the wrists. Now here's something to be aware of, 60% emphasis right hand. Turning from the pinkies, don't drop your hands and curl around. Don't do that. Here's your far point. Turn from the pinkies so then the whole hand can come over the top. One more. Don't drop down. That cuts off the flow of the energy in the wrists. Actually, in the meridian channels that are in the wrists. And then same thing here. Don't drop around and come up. That also cuts off that energy, those energy pathways that we don't want to cut off. We want to encourage or enliven those. So drop in, lift up, bring in your front foot, and then everything sinks together, and take a breath. Great. And then stand up and breathe. We like to stand up in between and breathe. Anytime you need to focus yourself, it's really helpful to include the pressure of the feet on the floor in that focus as you breathe. This could be throughout your day, and especially while you're doing Tai Chi Chih, but really anytime. So let's take another breath, focusing on the bottoms of the feet. Excellent. Now let's do the other side, the right side of push-pull. Okay. So I'm going to shift my weight to my left, sink just a little, step forward with the right heel, and then to balance the right leg that's out, I'm going to tap my left hand, the palm of my left hand, just to help me be aware that I'm placing my mind, my awareness, 60% in the right hand going out. I'm sorry, in your left hand, because the right foot is out. 60% left hand to balance the right leg. Drop in, lift up. Tracing a slightly downward pointing elliptical shape. Luxuriate in that moment here. Feel what happens into the heart area. Curving over the top, dropping in. Curve over the top. And breathe. Excellent. And then bring your front foot in. And sink and take a breath here in the resting pose. Great. So that movement is called push